What is going on, YouTube? My name is Randy. You're watching the Randy Talks Mets show. Guys, we got to get it started here with the New York Mets completing a big comeback against the Baltimore Orioles. They were down 6-2 in the eighth inning, and Brandon Nimmo gets a base hit. Francisco Lindor hits a two-run bomb all the way straight away to center field. And then you had Juan Soto come up. He singles on a line drive. And Pete Alonso hits a home run. And they complete the comeback and tie the game 6-6. I mean, what a great comeback this was for the New York Mets. We've seen the energy. It's come back for the New York Mets. We've been waiting for the top of the lineup to get going. We've been waiting for Francisco Lindor, Brandon Nimmo, Pete Alonso, Soto. We've been waiting for this lineup to get it together with the top of the lineup and for them to carry this lineup. And ever since Carlos Mendoza made that change to the lineup with Francisco Lindor in the second spot, Brandon Nimmo in the first spot, this is just looks a lot better. And I feel like it plays a lot better for the New York Mets lineup because of Brandon Nimmo, because of Francisco Lindor, but mostly because of Lindor. The fact that he can get on base, the fact that he can drive in Nimmo, the fact that he can get on base for Soto or Alonso and they can drive him in. This lineup is a lot better than just Francisco Lindor in the leadoff spot, because now you have Francisco Lindor in the second spot and he could drive more runs in. He could get more at-bats. And that is what you want from your captain. That is what you want from your star. So Francisco Lindor has been awesome lately. And he, with the toe injury, and he was getting a lot of criticism. But if he can go on a roll here and if he can get it going, that is going to be beautiful for the Mets. But this was a big comeback win for the New York Mets because you're down 6-2 and to the Orioles. You shouldn't be down 6-2 to the Orioles, but that's baseball and it's going to happen. But the Mets completed the comeback. They did what they were supposed to do, and I'm happy they did. I'm happy that they came back, and honestly, when it came to the game being 6-6, they go extra innings, and Juan Soto gets the base hit right up the middle, first pitch swinging, not waiting for a pitch there. He's aggressive, and he first pitch swings in the top of the 10th inning. And that is what you want to see from Juan Soto. You want to see more impactful at-bats from Juan Soto, a more clutch Juan Soto. And I'm very happy with how Juan Soto has been lately. Because, yes, June, he was the player of the month. But if you look at his runners in scoring position numbers, it wasn't good. But now, in July, you're seeing a lot better runners in scoring position at bats from Juan Soto. And that is something to me that is huge. But man, Pete Alonso, hats off to Pete Alonso, who's been clutch all year. Man, this guy is the big run producer. Where would the Mets be without Pete Alonso? I mean, wow. He already has more runs drived in than he did all of last year. And that is why I was down on Pete Alonso last year. That is exactly why, because of that fact. Now, because he wasn't driving in runs, Pete Alonso last year was not driving in runs. He wasn't clutch in the situation in the regular season. Obviously, he was clutch in the postseason. But now, the fact that he has more runs driven in than all of last year just tells you what type of season he's having and what type of season he had last year. So, man, I'm happy that the Mets ended up getting the comeback 7-6. They couldn't score any more runs after that. But I will say that Brazoban is looking better. He's looking like his old self, like he did in the beginning of the season. And that is what I'm excited about, having Brazoban being back to that caliber guy that you can trust. Because, I mean, it says a lot. It really says a lot for Carlos Mendoza to trust Brazoban. It really says a lot because this guy had a lot of bad outings. He was walking 3 in a row, 4 in a row. I mean, he probably walked 10 in his last two appearances, but lately he's been better. And that is something to me that is about the trust and the manager. So I am happy with the way Mendoza has handled the situation with Brazoban. And yeah, the Daniel Nunez injury, I'm sure he probably would have got the opportunity there if he was healthy. But now Brazoban is getting those opportunities, and he's looking like his old self. So we'll see what happens with Brazoban. I'm hoping, and Diaz was really good too as well. So Diaz has been on point. Brazoban has been better, and the bullpen has been better. And that is something that you want to see from the Mets bullpen. You want to see them. They still need a big arm in the bullpen. I think that they need to make a trade for someone. I'm hoping that they do. But, man, we got to talk about my boy Ronnie Mauricio. What a big game he had. He had a big home run and to tie the game 1-1. But just overall, it was a good defensive game from Ronnie Mauricio. He has a very strong arm. And let's look at his last stat. His last 7 games, he's batting .300, guys, and a slugging of .500. To me, Ronnie Mauricio is looking a lot more comfortable at the plate. And that is something that I've been waiting for. I've been waiting for Ronnie Mauricio to look more comfortable at the plate because this is a guy that has a lot of talent. This is a guy that we saw in 2023 come up, and he looked like he can be something. You know, it was a little bit of at-bats, but still, he showed power. He showed that arm, and he showed that defense. So right now, if Mark Vientos is not hitting and Brett Baty is hitting, you can play both Brett Baty and Ronnie Mauricio in the same lineup. Ronnie Mauricio, to me, seems more comfortable at third base. So I think that right now, they're going to keep Ronnie Mauricio at third base. I don't know who's going to get the start tonight against the lefty, but maybe Ronnie Mauricio won't get to start. But what I want to see from the Mets is I want to see them give Ronnie Mauricio more playing time. I want to see him play 3 days in a row. I know maybe I don't know if they're willing to push it there. I know that there's been some restrictions with him, and they don't want him to play 3 days in a row, or they maybe feel that they don't want to push that just yet. You know, he's coming off the tour and ACL, but still, when it comes to Ronnie Mauricio, this is a guy that has a lot of talent, and he has a lot of power. And you've seen better at-bats lately from Ronnie Mauricio, too, with plate discipline. And that is what have been impressive to me, because there was talk about sending this guy to AAA and letting him get his bearings right. But listen, you can see the development already happening in the major league level. And that's what I really like about what's going on with Ronnie Mauricio. And I like that the Mets have given Ronnie Mauricio this chance to develop in the major leagues a little bit more with his plate discipline, because we've seen the plate discipline issues. And yes, he did have some wild swings yesterday as well. But still, this is a guy that's having better at-bats. His OPS is, what is the OPS at now? His OPS is now at 738. This is a guy batting .244, 4 home runs. But right now, he is having better at-bats. And also, Brett Baty's having better at-bats. But this is about Ronnie Mauricio and the strong arm that he has. He made a really nice double play with the Mets yesterday. And I like this kid a lot. I think this kid has a lot of potential. And I know there's been talked about trading this kid, whatever. People want to make a big trade. I want the Mets to make a big trade. I don't want the Mets to trade Ronnie Mauricio, though. I'm sorry. I don't want if you want to trade someone else, okay. But don't trade Ronnie Mauricio. This is not a guy that should be traded. This is a guy that has a lot of potential, and he's going to be an impactful bat for this team. He's going to be an impactful player for this team. So do not trade Ronnie Mauricio. I don't want to hear about trading Ronnie Mauricio. I don't want to hear about it, because this is a guy that I can see has the potential, has more power than a guy like Mark Vientos. Just natural power. Mark Vientos has a lot of power, but Ronnie, he has natural, real power, and I like them both. I like Vientos. I like Baty. I like Ronnie Mauricio, but I'm sorry. I do not want the Mets to trade Ronnie Mauricio. This guy is a strong guy, big guy, has a strong arm, plays pretty good defense, you know, and it seems like the Mets officials really like him. And I'm happy they've given him the opportunity. So we'll see what happens with Ronnie Mauricio. We're hoping he could keep it up. I'm hoping he could keep it up. And yeah, we'll see. I don't know if he's going to be in the lineup tonight against the lefty, because he hasn't really been in the lineup against lefties a lot. Maybe with the struggling Mark Vientos, maybe they will have Ronnie Mauricio in the lineup against the lefty. I don't know. I want though Ronnie Mauricio but what I want to point out is that even when he wasn't in the game, he was still having impactful at bats. When Starling Marte was DHing, Ronnie Mauricio was coming in a bench spot and getting on base and hitting the ball. That says a lot about a kid. That says a lot about a young kid. So let's go Mets. We'll see what happens. But man, we got to talk about Clay Holmes. Clay Holmes, guys. Clay Holmes looked really good against the Orioles yesterday. Looked really good for 5 innings. For 5 innings. He pitched 5 shutout innings. Oh, no, not 5 shutout innings. 5 innings of 1-run ball. And then the inning just blew up on this guy. He hit Jackson Holliday with a ball. And then after that, the Baltimore Orioles, base hit, base hit, base hit, base hit. I mean, and what I don't like about the way Carlos Mendoza handled this inning is you could see that Clay Holmes was getting tired. You could see that this guy, he's going to have a lot of restrictions in the season. And they got to see how they get this guy to the finish line. They got to see how they get him to the postseason, how they get him overall to the finish line in general, because he hasn't really been a starter in a long time. And now he's not going to be pitching 200 innings. That's not going to happen. So I think when it comes to Clay Holmes, the way Carlos Mendoza handled this inning, though, with the 6th inning, to me, was not good. It wasn't good. You waited way too long to warm up a guy. They should have had somebody warming up for Clay Holmes from the start of the inning. Just because of how that Clay Holmes, how he really breaks down in the 6th inning and after. You've seen it before. This is not a guy that is going to go 7 shutout innings. I think he's done the 6 shutout innings before. But this is a guy that you got to be wary of. And I don't know how Carlos Mendoza didn't have somebody warming up. So Clay Holmes, to me, is still a big part of this team. He's still a big starter for this team. I like his stuff. I like his breaking pitches. But you can see in the 6th inning, his breaking pitches was flatter. He was getting balls in the middle too much over the plate. And his control wasn't as good. So that is something that you got to be wary of with Clay Holmes. But this honestly was a great win for the New York Mets. I'm happy they won this game. Mauricio did his thing. But Clay Holmes, man, I like this guy. I like Clay Holmes. I like the experiment. But Carlos Mendoza has to be smarter there. Has to be. We'll see what happens. Let me know what you guys think about the big comeback. Let me know what you guys think about Clay Holmes, Mauricio. Let me know what you guys think about all of it, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. My name is Randy. You have just watched the Randy Talks Mets show. I'm out of here.